Hey, Shalom, Lord in Christ. My name is Officer Quahal here with ISUPK out of Delaware. This is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge under Commanding General Yohana, and we have been called to teach the so-called Black, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native American people that we are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. For those of you who are first tuning in or may see the class for the first time, you may notice that I'm using the term so-called. That's because these are terms that were actually given to us by our oppressor. Almost like a slave name or a last name. We're an entire nation of people who was called something that the Lord did not designate us as. So we're going to break it into the law class. We're going to talk about a few things. But before we do that, go ahead and get your papers, your precept books, a drink, anything you need to get prepared for class. We'll play a couple videos and we'll be right back with you.
Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding strap on my chrome. Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding strap on my chrome.
Been out of these streets, nigga trying to eat while I duck police. Own family stealing from me. I'm on the phone me to pray, but white Jesus can't save me. Get him away from me. I don't know what to say. So many niggas hating me. Get him away from me.
Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding strap on my chrome. Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding strap on my chrome.
Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding around with my chrome. Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding around with my chrome. Trying to keep it on the true side, nigga. Laying low to play it cool, nah, nigga. Ass niggas on the team, I've been known to get the green ever since I was 2'5", nigga. Coop hanging out the roof, nah, nigga. Cause I ain't stunting on them. Put my whole team on so they ain't wantin'. When niggas doing bad, you know that they be hating on you. Get to hoping that you fall, they be waiting on it. Bullshit get bread from the envy. Best friends get to looking like enemies. When you got it in this bank account empty. Perfect recipe to breed a lot of jealousy. Looking from a bird's eye view. Learn from everything I've been through. Told my baby girl, if you ain't spending life with the nigga, never let him put a dick up in you. Cause if a nigga wrong, I'ma check that shit. And when you paper long, never flex that shit. Told my son, when you getting money, never trick it to a bop and flip it over, then invest that shit. Give a lot of game, trying to bless my kids. Gotta keep it real, that's the best shit. Got hitters up in Philly, back in Texas. When I get up on the track, yeah, I wreck shit.
Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding strap on my chrome. Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding strap on my chrome.
Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding around with my chrome. Always sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding around with my chrome.
Did it done live, yo.
Oh, no sweat. Salakia. Y'all can stay tuned. We're going to get into one more video. We'll be right back with you. We're going to handle this law class and we're going to get down like we usually do.
Somebody give me Romans 13 and 11.
I have a question.
It's a Ronald Carr, man. Give me Romans 13 and 11.
Khan Khan, this is the book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 11. And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep.
Brother, you need a water?
Thank you.
All right, so I'm back with you. And again, this is ISUPK. We are out of Delaware. And, you know, like I said, we do teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that we are the children of Israel. And the reason why we do that is because the Lord commanded us to come back to what our forefathers and our foremothers had, you know, engaged in with that covenant. So this is the Wednesday night law class. And as you know, a lot of people believe that the law is done away with. With that being said, you know, there's Christianity out there. There is Seventh-day Adventists, a lot of these other religions. I had broke down how many are being created, you know, on a day-to-day basis. But the different denominations are, you know, too numerous to even count right now. It's too many being added every single day. But the Bible stands true even through all of that. But let me see. Where are we going first? So I'm going to break out Hebrews 5 and 12. And what that talks about is the fact that we need to be taught again, because what we've learned so far in this day and age is not, as far as Christianity is concerned, it's not what we're supposed to be learning. It's not the actual truth of the Bible. It's not actually something that can help us out of the situations that we're in, because as you look around us, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are at the very bottom. Now, we do have a few of us that are at the top. And then we look to those and we say, oh, we have hope to be like them. But I'm going to bring out some things, you know, very briefly about how that's not even the way to go, and how that's just an illusion to keep you swimming towards something that's not actually there, or walking through a desert where there's actually a mirage and it's something terrible waiting down for you at the end of the line. So if we can go ahead and read Hebrews 5 and 12.
Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 12. For the time ye ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again.
So I learned or heard a little bit about the Bible when I was in the church. But when I heard the Bible, it was taught to me from a what's a nice term that they like to use for the oppressor teaching us the Bible nowadays, a Eurocentric. It was taught to me from a Eurocentric perspective. But the reality is it was taught to us by devils. The devil that the Bible speaks of is our oppressor, and that's who gave us the Bible and gave us a slave Bible, which did not include all the scriptures. And then later, when we got the, you know, a more, you know, almost appropriate version of the Bible, they removed the apocryphal books. Right. So they removed anything about us, you know, standing up for ourselves, about us, you know, holding our enemies accountable as far as like getting together. And then they went ahead and took out the apocrypha. But let's read that again from the top.
For the time ye ought to be teachers, excuse me. For the time ye ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again.
So I came to the ISUPK and I learned from the men above me about what the Bible was actually saying. I'm not going to go off too much because we need to finish this verse, but something that Officer Dashayan brought out was so heavy because I want to talk about context. Officer Dashayan brought out the fact that Romans, I believe it was 10 and 9, says that whosoever believeth shall be saved as far as salvation is concerned. But when you go up to verse 1, Romans 10 and 1, it actually says that it's to the Israelites. And that's what we covered yesterday. So context is a big portion of reading the Bible. Now, precepts is what we get into, but those precepts help you get context on what something is. Continue.
Which be the first principles of the oracles of God.
So that's what the oracles of God is speaking about, the laws, the statutes, the commandments, what we're being told in the Bible. We need somebody to come and teach us again, because what we've been taught is all lies. Just like the heathen has inherited lies, unfortunately, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have inherited lies as well. Continue.
And become,
No sweat.
be the first principles of the oracles of God, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat.
So that sounds a little weird because we don't speak like that. And we need context to understand the way the Bible was actually for us to understand it. So let me give you a little insight on what this is saying. So when it says need of milk, when you come into the truth and you're born again, you're a baby. You need milk. Babies don't eat meat. You're not going to put a porterhouse, or a T-bone or a bone and ribeye on a grill for a baby and feed it to them. When you're first coming up in the truth, you're a baby. So you're fed milk. You're fed these scriptures that you can understand. And as time goes on,
right,
you grow stronger in faith and understanding. You get those, hard to be understood scriptures. So we need to realize that our complete outlook of what the Bible, how it was fed to us was completely wrong. We reverse that and we get context. So let me go to context and actually say what that is. So context, because the Bible was translated from Hebrew and Greek, and possibly some other Bibles were translated from Latin. But those original tongues, as they say in the King James Version Bible, were translated into a language in English that we don't really even speak anymore because it was Old English. Old English didn't have the letter J, didn't have the letter U, it was V's. And there were sayings like needs be born, like something that needs to be carried. That's not terminology we would even use. So it can be confusing on how to understand what the laws, the statutes, the commandments, and the whole book is even saying. But here's what context means. This is from the dictionary. It is a noun, the circumstances that form the setting for an event, statement, or idea, and in terms of which it can be fully understood or salakia and assessed. So if you don't understand the context of something, or if you don't rather have the context of something, you're not going to understand what that even means. There's going to be terms that are going to be used. And we always like to talk about those slang terms that we use, in the world. We'll say stuff like, yo, that's my dog. That means that's a loyal friend of yours. That's somebody that's in your heart when you say that's my dog.
Right.
If you say something like, give me another one off the top that would be a slang term that,
solid.
Solid. Like we're not talking about like water being turned into ice. We're talking about something is not shakeable. It's something that is real to you. Like, no, that's a solid brother right there. That's how we talk. And there's certain things in the Bible that have a an essence of that as well, because we're the same people as before. We're a shell of ourselves right now because of all the things that we've been through as a people, but we're still those same people from the book. And that's another thing that I'm gonna bring up, because over time, we have followed every other religion that we're not supposed to follow. Let me get Amos 3:1. This is something that Officer Kaash was breaking down for us before class even started. And what we need to realize is the laws, the statutes, and the commandments, the word of God was given to us and not every other nation on earth. In the Talmud, I see different things. And I was, I went down a rabbit hole today reading different stuff, that the oppressor put online. And a lot of it is misinformation. And that's why I brought out the verse about, you need somebody to teach you, because you become wise in this truth. You become a man that knows how to sift through all the garbage and know what is actually something that you can use and that is right and that can aid you in helping a brother or sister understand. Because any organization out there that has power, they want to maintain power. And a lot of those organizations might be the FBI, the CIA, Mossad, which is Israeli intelligence. And there's a lot of misinformation that gets put out there, but we need to be able to discern and decipher through wisdom that is given to us by the Most High and be taught by the men above us, to be able to help brothers and sisters, because you go down that rabbit hole, I see brothers and sisters talking about everything under the sun that doesn't make any sense, whether it be brothers believing in, they call them sirens. I don't know if you brothers heard about that. They think there's mermaids under the water, or that the earth is flat. If the earth was flat, it wouldn't matter. That's not going to stop a cop, from unaliving you. You having that knowledge. Let's say if the earth was a like shaped like a plate, that's not going to stop a cop from putting a knee on your neck. But let's go ahead and get to that verse.
Amos chapter 3 and verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel.
So in this context, you know that the Most High, when it comes to what this is concerning, is talking to Israel.
O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt.
I was just bouncing ideas back and forth from my father today that when something is written to the children of Israel, it's familial. It has to do with the family. I was joking with Ka'ash saying, flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone, because Ka'ash is a brother to me.
Exactly.
Young man Wayne is becoming a brother to me. These are my brothers. These are my family. And in this context, the Most High is talking into the entire family of Israel, whether that be, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, any of Simeon, all of the 12 tribes. This is not dealing with anybody outside of that. We have a lot of tribes within our nation. Well, not a lot, but 12. But it's not talking about the Edomite. It's not talking about the Hamite.
Right.
It's not talking about, Ammonite. It's talking about us. This is for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But we're in a bad way right now because of what we've done concerning the Most High's covenant. Continue.
Verse 2. You only have I known.
So you only have I. He doesn't know anybody else. That like when we're talking to somebody on the street and we say, "Man, you don't know me." We know what that means. The Most High understands that He created all man,
Right.
but He doesn't know them in the sense of they are His people.
Right.
Like when somebody comes to you and they do something disrespectful, you might say, "Yeah, I don't know you like that." Like, "Yo, let me get $1,000." Like, what? I don't know you like that. You understand what I'm saying? Like that is us. The essence of what the Most High is saying is the same thing we echo today. When we say you don't know me like that, even T.I. made us you don't know me. That was a song that hit home for me, because that's something I would always use in high school. Man, you don't know me. And the Most High doesn't know these other nations. He didn't make a covenant with them. There was no contract given to these other nations. Continue.
Therefore, I will punish you, Slakia. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities.
So for all your iniquities is talking about all our sins. And when it says you only have I known of all the families of the earth, He's including us and excluding every other nation on earth.
Exactly.
So that's not just including us, that's excluding everybody else. So this whole inclusive attitude that we have in the United States is contradictory to what the Most High has put before His people. You have this spirit on earth that I believe was started with Nimrod, where he wanted to bring all nations together. But that's not what we have in the Bible. That's not what the Most High wants. We can all be separate. There's going to be one nation on top ruling the others. And that's supposed to be Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
Exactly.
But we do have nations on earth right now who believe that they are them.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they be Ethiopian, whether they be small hats, they believe that they're the children of the book, and they're not. They haven't been through what we've been through. The Most High didn't make a covenant with them. What's happening to us has not happened to them that's been described in the Bible. Now, Salakia, let's read that through one more time.
Khan. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities.
So this is the law class. We talking about sin, because sin is transgression of the law. And the reason why Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have suffered what we suffered is because we did not obey the Most High. I'm gonna go ahead and play something for y'all because we want to be included. Like I said, Nimrod tried to make the Tower of Babel and bring all nations together. And then the Lord, he confused those languages for various reasons. But the Israelites are to be separate. You know what the word separate in the Bible is?
Holy, sir.
Most High in Christ. Exactly. Young man Wayne got it on point.
Right.
Holy means to be separate. So we can't be all inclusive. There can't be every nation on earth coming up into our holy places and worshiping with us, because those holy places are separate from other spaces on this earth. We are separate from other nations on this earth, and the Lord commanded that. So I'm gonna go ahead and play something for y'all. Let me see if I can find it. Salakia, bear with me. All right, I found it. Matter of fact, I actually made a video about it, so I'll go ahead and just play that. So just a little background. This is the Jerry Springer Show, and there's a young Jewish girl that makes a statement. And some might say, well, how do you know she's Jewish? She says she's Jewish. How do you know it's real? Look, it wouldn't even matter if it wasn't real, because I have other, things that I'm going to go to that show that they're echoing the same sentiment as what she's saying and how she feels. So let me go ahead and play that for y'all.
Excuse me, I'm a Jew, and I just like to say that.
Let me start over.
I just like to say that. Excuse me, I'm a Jew, and I just like to say that, in our Bible it says that you're like animals. What Bible are you reading from? The Bible that was made a long, long time ago, and your Bible was just maybe because you.
She was going to say maybe because it's made it up, and I don't know. Could you hear that?
I heard so.
She said that in my Bible, you all are animals. And she's not directly talking to brothers and sisters. She's talking to other, Caucasians or other oppressors. And what that shows is a hierarchy, because we are at the bottom, but then you have people that are on top. So look at her outlook. Her outlook is that she's up here. As I said, the Most High was having us and where we're supposed to be. And she said that you guys are just animals in my Bible. She didn't actually mean the Bible. She's talking about the Talmud, because the Talmud echoes that type of sentiment that she's saying. Let me see. Let me get something else. So this is I sent it to Kaash to make sure I had it. Let me see. So this is, matter of fact, I didn't send that to Kaash. Let me go to it. All right. So this is the Israel Times, and there is a rabbi named Avadio Yosef, and he has some controversial. Go ahead.
Sorry, Salakia.
No sweat.
What's the Talmud?
So the Talmud is a writings in a book. It's almost like an addition to the Jewish religion for their Bible, and because they have the Torah and Tanakh, but then they also have the Talmud.
So they don't read from the Bible, the King James version.
So they read a version of the Bible that has the first 5 books and some of the prophets. So not everything that we have. So I don't even believe they read the apocryphal books, but they definitely don't have the New Testament. The Jewish people that are, what's the terminology that I'm looking for? Orthodox. The Orthodox Jews definitely don't read that. I've seen some stuff where they have something saying Jews for Jesus, where they start to believe in the New Testament, but they read the Talmud, which has some pretty disturbing things in it. I'm gonna go over those because I'm still searching down that rabbit hole to see what's real and what's fake.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that.
Because there's some stuff on there that people put, and it's not necessarily true about the Talmud, and it can have you looking crazy if you try to say it without even being able to prove it. So that's why you want to be well versed and well learned in how to sift through, the misinformation. But let me go ahead and read what this rabbi or Avadia Yosef had to say. So let me see. It says Rabbi Avadia Yosef, who died. Oh, let me give you the article. So this is Times of Israel, and this is 5 of Yosef's most controversial quotations. It says late Sephardi spiritual leader made a range of inflammatory comments involving snakes and sinners, Gentiles and blacks. So let's read what some of the stuff he had to say. There's one in particular, for time's sake, I might read and just skip over everything else because this was outlandish. All right, I'm gonna read 2 of them. So his number 2 quote said, they say Hurricane Katrina as divine punishment for godliness and American support for disengagement from Gaza. So it sounds like in this, what he's saying is because we disengaged Gaza, we received a hurricane. And this was something that was said, let me see what this was said in 2005. So we've been dealing with this whole Gaza thing for a long time. And this man had the nerves to say this, in 2005. So let me see. It says there was a tsunami and there are terrible natural disasters because there isn't enough Torah study. Black people reside there. And he's talking about New Orleans. Blacks will study the Torah, question mark. God said, let's bring a tsunami and drown them. So he's talking about us. So we see that this young lady, this young oppressor said that the other people are animals. And then you have this spiritual leader in Judaism talking about drowning black people with a tsunami because disengagement from Gaza. It says hundreds of thousands remain homeless. Tens of thousands have been killed. All of this because they have no God. He's saying we don't have a God. And in a sense, even though he's wrong about what he's saying about us, we serve other gods. So really, if you serve the God of Christianity, the God of Islam, the God of Judaism, you really don't have a real God because the God of the Bible is real. He is living. And if you're not serving him, you're not really serving a God. Who do you have to watch over you? It says Bush was behind Gush Katif, the Gaza settlement block. He encouraged Sharon to expel Gush Katif. We had 15,000 people expelled here, and there 150,000. It was God's retribution. God does not shortchange anyone. So this man is a bastard. Like, to see black people already suffering and to see us drowning, and you think that the world revolves around your people that much that God would send a tsunami to drown us because we don't believe what you believe, or the fact that Bush didn't have the most support that you wanted him to have is just ridiculous and asinine. Go ahead.
What makes some think that, and it's not a question for you, but just in general, what makes some think that there wasn't his people in New Orleans at the time as well?
You know what? That's a great question. And I'm going to get to it after this one right here, because that's a great question, because
his people may have suffered some of that too.
Might have, but that's a great statement, because a lot what nations and leaders realize is something that I'm a name called like the by and large prospect. Like, we think of stuff as individuals, but the leaders of other nations, they think of stuff as a whole, right, as a big picture. So he knows he could say that or feel that way because a majority of his people are not going to live around black people because they take care of each other. We're dispersed around the whole entire country, and we don't have a defense from our enemies. So he knows that his people are pretty good. They can walk into what am I thinking of? When you go to get when we get food stamps, when we get that help, they don't have to wait in line. If they need that, they can help from their own and the government. So we know that's a powerful statement right there. All right, so let me go to this. It says the purpose of Gentiles to serve Jews. It says, Goyim were born only to serve us. Without that, they have no place in the world, only to serve the people of Israel. In Israel, death has no dominion over them. With Gentiles, it will be like any person, they need to die. But God will give them longevity. Why? Imagine that one's donkey would die. They lose their money. So he said, if we serve them, the Lord would keep us alive long enough, because it would be like losing a donkey. Why would the Lord take away their tool? Why would he take away their animal that they need? So if we serve them, he's saying we'll be better off. This is the mindset that they have had since the 7th and 8th century. The Talmud was written and they put together something that has them with group cohesiveness that we just don't have. We want to be accepted by everybody. They want to rule over everybody, whether it be a Jewish Caucasian or Salakia, whether it be a small hat Caucasian, whether it be a regular oppressor, whether it be an Arab, an Asian, because China don't want to let America come through and destroy what they have had for so long. They want to rule. We want to be accepted. That's a complete difference. We're at a disadvantage because of that. All right, let me see. Any more on that? This is his servant. That's why he gets a long life, to work well for his Jew. That's insane. All right, let me get back on topic. Let me see. Let's go to let me see, Salakia. I want to go to the verse that talks about how our enemy will get far above us. Let me see. Let me go to that real quick.
Deuteronomy?
It is, yeah, Deuteronomy 28 and 43. Because this is what happened to us. We are on the bottom of the totem pole because we did not serve the Lord our God. We didn't follow the laws, the statutes, and commandments. And right now we have people with this mindset that rule over us. They own our buildings. They run restaurants. They get to decide, where we live. And they'll buy up every single neighborhood with all the buildings, keep them abandoned so your property value comes down. And the government will give them money, and then they'll push you out and build condos for other oppressors that they still see as animals. Salaki, we can go ahead and read that.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
So back during the civil rights movement, we had little hats that were marching with us. What's that called? The Rainbow Coalition or something like that, where it was founded by oppressors. No, NCAA, Salakia. Not NC. I'm all over the place. What is it called? The National Advancement of Colored People? The NAACP?
Yeah.
That was not started by us. That was actually started by, small hats and other oppressors. And we thought that would be good to be with them. But instead, they got above us and ended up ruling over us. There's going to come a time when Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans no longer have a God complex with these other nations around us. No sweat. With the other nations around us. And we're no longer going to look to them as our father and mother figure, because we've seen the success that they've had, but it's because they have been able to destroy us. The Lord said that we are a great people, and that's for a reason. The Lord said that we were supposed to be separate. That's for a reason, because these other nations were going to get above us. Salakia, go ahead.
I was going to say never mind on this, but it's hitting me. Being in the truth for as long as I've been, it hasn't been that long, almost, maybe I want to say 2-3 months. It just wanders in my mind to where I'm like, what would it be like for us if we were, let's say, like, for instance, the church,
right?
They're packed out,
right?
Sold out arena. You know what I mean? And I look around in here, and it's just who we see in here. I'm not
right.
I wonder what it would be like if we were, as a people, packed out in this. And I wonder what it would be like. Like it wouldn't be like that to where what we just read, we're gonna come down and they're gonna come up
Right.
over top of us. And it's like my vision on it is like it wouldn't be that way if we would, you know, doing what the Bible said, to stick together. And, you know, like that's why I was going to say never mind, because I really don't got a point to put on this, like a question or anything.
Right. No, I understand
but
what
it's
you're
just
saying.
the vision that I'm seeing is like,
If I could,
we was taught by them to stay down.
right, and to be separate from each other, to be individuals,
That as
without
well.
group cohesiveness. If
I'm
I
just
could,
wondering how we would be able to do the works that we're trying to do right now, and to just get the minds right of our people.
right. You want to know when that time is going to come for a lot of people, because some brothers and sisters don't need this to happen
That's
to
when
them.
Yahweh Shah comes back.
No, it's going to be when every single nation on earth turns their backs on them and shows them their true colors, and it's undeniable. Because right now we see it for what it is. Right now we can see that they come over from different countries, whether it be an Arab or an Indian, and they rule, these shops around us, and they're able to open the chicken spot in the hood. But do you know where the Arab lives when he leaves your neighborhood? Nah, you like when you come outside, like people grow up in these different communities, right? You're growing up around blacks and Hispanics. Like you don't see a whole bunch of Asians or a whole bunch of Arabs in these poor neighborhoods in droves. You see us in the hood.
Right.
Like you might have a few speckled around. Those are the outliers.
Right.
But you don't really see too many of them. But what's going to happen is they're going to gather themselves, as they always done. They're going to separate themselves because things are going to get messed up over here to where it's going to be undeniable, and we're going to have each other. The government's going to turn their back, and then classrooms might be standing room only. And black people are going to realize, Hispanics are going to realize that we've been wrong all along about our oppressor and what we've been serving. But that's a good outlook. But it's going to be, a day that, we knew was coming, but that's going to be a surprise for a lot of them. And then we do finally stand on our feet, everybody else who, had a hand in our slavery is going to, they're going to be scared. They're going to realize what they did was wrong. But Salakia, what verse were we at again?
Deuteronomy 28:43.
Khan, we can start that from the top.
The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
I just saw something that was insane. And that said the stranger is going to get above the very high. And that means we have to come down very low. I was watching Black Watch, Commander General Yohana show, and I think it was General Hyman brought out that Steven Spielberg owns Martin Luther King's speeches. Yes, a small hat owns Martin Luther King's speeches because Martin Luther King's family trusted him and were told that they were going to get a movie. And in order for him to make the movie, he needed rights to all the speeches, and they sold it to him. No movie has been made yet by Steven Spielberg. And now every time those speeches are played, who owns them? Steven Spielberg. So he gets paid off of that.
That's crazy.
They don't even get, his own family doesn't even own the rights to the speeches, the very great music that we used to make. We don't even get the rights to that. Steven Spielberg's people and people like him, they get it. Let's read that from the top one more time.
The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
If we think about it, what other nation on earth is subject to something like that, to where your leader, we just had Martin Luther King's holiday. They gave us, like a symbol, but we don't have anything strong. When they play Martin Luther King speeches, theoretically, those speeches helped every minority on earth to have some sort of equal treatment in America, right?
Right.
So at least Martin Luther King's family or other Black people and Hispanics should, have some sort of benefit to that. But no, the devil that the Bible speaks of gets to have benefit that. Go ahead.
I must say, what you're bringing out is heavy. And this is what happens whenever somebody betrays somebody. They always end up losing everything, man. A traitor like that never wins.
Damn right.
And the whole family's going to suffer.
Damn right.
He screwed us over. Now his family's getting screwed over, and he's just an idiot. That's all I got to say.
Damn right. Absolutely. That's a heavy point because, hey, Martin Luther King said it himself. You don't got to agree with Officer Kaash, but I definitely do, because what he's saying is so right, because even Martin Luther King said, I have led my people into a burning building. And look at it. Look at us. We're still in the hood. We're still in the barrios, the reservations. What was marched for didn't even help. It didn't help. And then he was unalived afterwards. So not only did this oppressor unalive him, but they even took all his family's speeches. The same people that said they would, man, Steven Spielberg's people were marching with us, pretending to be with us. And then come along and now they get the benefit to his speeches and we don't. We get to have some type of some emotional experience with it. Go ahead.
What you're bringing now, that point right there was so heavy. Because if you look at everything that happened to Martin Luther King, first they got him to be a preacher. Then they got him to tell Black people to love everybody, no matter what.
Everybody.
He convinced Black people to stop buying Black and go to shop with the oppressor and all their stuff.
Right.
Now, so they messed up our economics. And then you just think about, then after he did all that, they killed him. Then after they killed him, they took all his speeches for themselves.
Everything he wrote and worked for.
Just think about how crazy that whole plan is.
It's insane.
It's crafty counsel.
Can we read that verse again one more time, and then we can get the crafty counsel after that?
Come on. Deuteronomy 28:43. The stranger that is within thee, so get up above thee very high.
They'll take everything you've ever worked for and make it their own. Your actual identity, the words that come out of your mouth, the hairstyles you wear, your God, they will make that God a Caucasian. Continue.
And thou shalt come down very low
to the barrios, the reservations, the ghettos. We will own nothing. We will have worked in the cotton fields and not have a patent to help us get money for the very cotton gin that was patented by a Black man. That's what we won't have. Let's read the other verse that you had brought up. And while you get that, young man Wayne.
I just had a statement. Because I came up as a Christian.
Right.
What we just read is stuff that you don't hear in the church.
Right.
It's just a thought in my head, for anybody out there still maybe Christian fighting to come to the truth. How would a Christian break that down to you? Who would they be speaking to? Would they be speaking to everybody during this? So the stranger that is within thee shall get up above very high. Who would he be talking about?
I would assume that they would say that no longer even matters.
I mean, truthfully, and that's a heavy point too. But just in the sense of thought, to me, it's just like
that would be their answer.
A lot of things that they say doesn't matter really matters. They just truthfully don't know how to answer. In my eyes,
they wouldn't be able to fit themselves into that verse, so they would say, no, that's done away with. That doesn't matter. Even though, Christ said he didn't come to destroy the law or the prophets, which is the prophecies. That's a prophecy right there.
Right.
Martin Luther King's family is very low. There is what we got and what his family got was a statue that looks like a rod. A man's member. That's what they got. Steven Spielberg got all of their speeches. Other nations and that were strangers got the benefit of coming over here and open up shops for the work we did. And we got a Martin Luther King statue. One of them looked Asian. I don't know if y'all saw that one. The other one looked like
two arms folded up.
Yeah, the other one looked like somebody holding a a male member. Like, we came down so low and they went up so high. They wouldn't even understand how to interpret that verse, so they would say, "No, that doesn't matter."
That was
Christ,
that was truthfully my point.
yeah, Christ died for our sins. That
Which is why
right. When Christ said, I come not to destroy the law or the prophets, when he's talking about, I didn't come to destroy the word of God, the laws, the statutes, commandments, or the prophecies that were laid down before us. Let's go ahead and get that verse, Salakia. Or you had something to say?
Yeah, that too. I'll say concerning the book of Deuteronomy, they don't even know that book exists because that's considered a book of the law. When I was growing up as a Christian, I don't think I've ever read inside the book of Deuteronomy ever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, as a Christian, they probably don't even read the book of Deuteronomy. You know what I mean?
I didn't.
That's what I'm saying. Me either. Like,
Half the time I was asleep in church, but Deuteronomy is not something that, you would normally, preach about.
Right. I can't even remember a sermon coming from the book of Deuteronomy. Let alone reading a curse in it. They probably don't know what a curse.
Yeah, I don't believe I did either. They might mention the children of Israel, but then they'll say that we're spiritual Israelites. They might try to put that spin on it, maybe. Like, I can see a pastor trying to maybe say something to the effect of the stranger is the enemy of God in this sense, and that everybody else is the spiritual Israelites or the spiritual believers. Maybe they might try to spin it like that, but I don't even see them saying that verse even matters.
Hey, man, somebody probably start a whole new religion if they read that.
It's a new denomination every single day and more. Good night.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
So Steven Spielberg going to that family and owning those speeches, like, I don't even know, like, if I've even heard an I Have a Dream speech recently, unless I got to go to YouTube and look it up. It's not nationally normally televised, because if it is, I believe Steven Spielberg might be the one that's going to, get a monetary benefit off of it. That was very crafty to do that. Like, we wouldn't even think to do something so heinous as that. Like, if there were any small hats who had suffered to, go through, what they went through, and then the Germans came and took their speeches that they had said to try to free themselves from persecution and everything that they had went through, that would be something that would be unheard of. Or imagine we did that to them. That is something that is so crazy that a normal human being with humanity wouldn't even think about doing, even to your own enemy. But these people who have aided in the transatlantic slave trade, who were insurgents in our movements, have even taken the words out of Martin Luther King's mouth and made it to where it makes them money when it is televised. That is insane. Continue, Salakia.
And consulted against thy hidden ones. That's the end of it.
Most High in Christ, the water for that. That's insane. Let's get let me see. It's a point I wanted to bring out because young man Wayne had brought this out, and I'm not going to go too much further after this. But he said he was having a conversation with some brothers who believe in Islam, or somewhat believe in Islam. And when I'm looking through the scriptures, if you serve other gods, then the Most High is going to destroy you for that.
Right.
You have brothers and sisters that are involved in Judaism, which is another god. Right. You have brothers and sisters who are involved with Islam, which is another god. Buddha, all of these other religions that are modern and big today, they come from, a corrupted form of the Bible. Right. Let's get Deuteronomy 11:6, and I'm gonna break out some proof, because what young man Wayne brought out was heavy. That these brothers that think they are in Islam serving another nation's religion thought to scoff him for saying that he was a child of the Most High God, like the Bible actually tells him he is, like the actual reality of everything is.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11 and verse 6. And what he did unto Dathan and Abiram.
Salakia. That was 11 and 16.
Verse 16. Take heed to yourselves, that your heart be not deceived.
These brothers out here are deceived to think that Judaism, Islam, and Christianity have the answers.
Right.
These are religions that were created not following the Bible correctly, from other nations coming in. You have Islam, that's an Arab religion.
Right.
Christianity, that is the Caucasians' religion.
Right.
What Judaism, that's another Caucasian religion, but it's just from Amalek, the little hats. Continue.
And turn ye aside, and ye turn aside, and serve other gods and worship them.
That's what we're doing. The Lord said we would worship even wood and stone, meaning when we worship wood, that is talking about Christianity. I see females that will put a Bible verse on Instagram and have that in their profile, and they'll be half naked.
Right.
They'll talk about, you know, being a whore and using a man for his money, but they got a Bible verse and a cross around their neck, and they're covered in tattoos. That's serving another God. That's Christianity saying that Christ can die for your sins and you'll do everything and anything under the sun that you can really do. Go ahead.
That reminds me, when I used to be in the Christian church, right? This lady had gave a testimony, and she was testifying how, okay, so her husband was locked up, right?
Right.
So she gave a testimony because she was getting a divorce, and she got that brother to sign papers so she can have the house and everything. And they was talking, right? That shit wicked, man. And when you said that, that brought it back to my attention just now. You know what I mean? Like, yo, Christian church is wicked and these women is wicked, bro. I feel sorry for that brother, man.
You and I both, because, and that's a heavy point, because, and that illustrates and gives you a picture of what we go through serving these other religions. That is not what the Most High designated for us to do. Right. The Most High, number one, didn't want a brother in jail, and he definitely didn't want for a woman to be able to, you know, usurp her power and take everything from that brother. When he gets out of prison, what does he have after that? The system is already going to be against him. Every oppressor on earth is going to do everything in their power not to give him a decent job. And then you have the woman that was supposed to be yours taking everything from you. We got to understand that we serving other guys, because here in the UPK, we would advise against that. And you can't be in here doing that. You cannot be in here, number one, serving another God. Number two, breaking the laws, the statutes, and commandments, doing something so despicable as that. Let's read that verse again one more time from the top, and then I'm gonna read some sources to back up what I'm saying.
Deuteronomy 11 and 16. Take heed to yourselves, that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods and worship them.
All right. So I'm going to read out of a book by Arthur Koestler and Salakia. Matter of fact, I'm going to read Michael Bradley's book first. So Michael Bradley has a book called Chosen People from the Caucasus. So this is a secular source, as Christians would like to call it. But this is a book that illustrates a lot of different things that you don't normally hear within history. So this is Chosen People from the Caucasus by Michael Bradley. All right, so it says on page 17, Jewish historical and religious experience in the ancient Middle East related into the Old Testament and supplementary rabbinical texts actually laid the foundation of the West's three major religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So this Bible right here, which you could tell is separate from those religions, by the way, the author, at least in his mind, that these religions are separated from what the Bible actually teaches, because religions came from this Bible that the Lord did not want us to have, that we ended up serving. I'm gonna read that one more time. It says Jewish historical and religious experience in the ancient Middle East related in the Old Testament and supplementary rabbinical texts. So even the texts that come after that, those created Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So let me read something for y'all, and I'm gonna give you another backup source, because what Wayne brought out was heavy. Brothers is out here scoffing Wayne, trying to tell them that we are the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right.
They think it's a funny thing to scoff at. They think it's a small thing, and they would halfway follow a religion that doesn't even have the complete truth of the matter. Let's go ahead and read it. I'm gonna go to a book called From Babylon to Timbuktu. As a matter of fact, let's get it from the horse's mouth first. Let's get it from their Quran, because they believe that their religion is the true religion, right? They think their religion is a true religion. Mm-hmm. Wayne is in here learning the truth, and they're inheriting lies. They were born into lies, and they're not even being individuals enough in their individuality to challenge that. They're not even thinking for themselves, so we can have some sort of group cohesiveness to where Black people can get on one accord. But let me see. I took a picture of it to make sure I stayed at the right verse. So this is in the Quran. It's on page 4 in this particular Quran, which we don't subscribe to, but we're going to get some information out of here to show them that, you know, they're wrong and they messed up. So this is Surah 2 and 47. So in the ISUPK, we believe that the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the children of Israel. And the Lord said that he only knew us. Let's see what the Quran has to say about the children of Israel. Surah 2 and 47 says, "O children of Israel." So it's directly addressing us.
Right.
"Call to mind the special favor which I bestowed upon you." So this is supposed to be their God, Allah. Why would Allah, which is the God of Arabs, so if it's the religion of Arabs, they should be on top in this verse. That's not what it's adding up to as we continue. "Which I bestowed upon you, and I preferred you to all others for my message." So you mean to tell me that as a Black man, as a Hispanic man, you're willing to follow a book that prefers me and my brothers over you? Because apparently you want to be like the Arabs. So you want to be a second-class citizen to a people who Allah doesn't even prefer over my people. Let's go ahead and get something else in Babylon and Timbuktu. Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ. So this is a book called Babylon and Timbuktu by I believe his name is Rudolph Windsor. Yeah, Rudolph Windsor. And he brings out some heavy points. So let's get the reason why the Quran would even say that, because a lot of brothers will come straight out and say, the Quran is plagiarized. And people don't want to believe it. They think it's disrespect. But this Bible right here was comprised of these scriptures before the Quran was even ever thought of. And everything that comes out of this Quran is just a copyright infringement of what the Bible actually is. That's why it talks about the children of Israel in this Quran. Right. How could you even know about the children of Israel without knowing about the Bible? Let's go ahead and read what Rudolph R. Windsor had to say. It says, "Muhammad tried to construct his religion as closely as he could after the Jewish religion." So Rudolph R. Windsor says the Jewish religion. Let me go ahead and clear that up for y'all. He is talking about our doctrine, not our actual religion, because if you're an Israelite, that is a birthright. That's something that your father was. That's not a religion. You don't get to convert into being a nation. I can't convert into being Asian. I can't say, you know what, man, I'm gonna convert into being white. I identify as white. You can't do that. So the scriptures the laws, the statutes, and commandments, our doctrines, our belief belong to the Israelites, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Just to clear that up, it says he favored the Jews by accepting many of their laws and their traditions. It's saying Muhammad did this. It says when the Jews refused to be converted, he commanded his followers to stop turning to the holy city of Jerusalem in prayer, but rather to turn to the city of Mecca. That's where they get praying to Mecca from Jerusalem. So this source right here, which is by an oppressor, says that Islam came from the Bible. This source says it as well. And then you have it straight from the horse's mouth saying that Allah prefers the children of Israel.
That's excellent.
We can go ahead and drop this because I'm gonna read something from Encyclopedia Britannica that states that Islam is something that came to Arabs later, because before they worshipped over 360 gods. If you look up pre-Islamic Arabia, you'll find out that there was matter of fact, before I go ahead and start messing up terms, let me go ahead and just read it because we have the information. Salaki, give me 1 second.
Would you like me to read it for you?
If I sent you the right one.
You sent me one with Britannic, I know that.
Right, and it says Arabian religion.
Yeah.
Khan, you can go ahead and read that. The water.
From the first sentence.
Yeah, it should start off as saying Arabian religion and then comma polytheistic.
Gotcha. Arabian religion, polytheistic beliefs and practices that existed in Arabia before the rise of Islam in the 7th century CE.
So this is talking about after Christ in the 7th century, after the Bible was already finished, that Arabs had a polytheistic view of religion. And Muhammad in this book is said to model his religion after the Bible and what the Jews followed.
Right.
So you got brothers that really think that they got the truth, and they have a watered down version of what the Quran even says.
Damn.
They believe in the son of Yaqub, where there's some big head scientists creating white people. They believe that
Crazy.
well, what's another weird thing that they believe? Both Arabs and the NOI believe that, well, the Quran says, because allegedly, that you can hit your woman.
Damn.
We don't subscribe to that. We can't follow this book because it was created as a corrupted version of the Bible. I'm going to read one more thing, and this is not talking about Islam, but this is talking about Judaism. You had a question?
No, I got a statement real quick.
Khan, sir.
I was watching the debate with ISUPK brother against these Muslims, and they have brought out the fact that Muhammad was into pedophilia and that he married like a 8 or 9 year old, like a very young girl.
That's a fact.
I'm not sure of the age. I
She was like 8 or 9.
Yeah, 8 or 9.
And it's in like the Hadiths or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
I forget what they said or where it was. You know what I mean? But they was battling this Muslim cat, you know what I mean? And they brought that fact up that Muhammad was a pedophile.
And I know they went buck wild. I know those brothers that subscribe to this religion that was created based off of a corrupted version of what the Bible should be. I know they wilded out. Let me go to and I'm about to wrap it up, but let me go to another book, because we said that Christianity was created by the Bible, because in Christianity that's not even difficult. Like if can I get that picture? I'm gonna go ahead and read let me see where it describes in Revelations Christ, because we see some inconsistencies with these other religions, and it's easy for us to see, like, we already got the Quran up out of here and Islam. Let's go ahead and get Christianity up out of here. So what verse am I looking for that best describes? Can we get the verse that describe in Revelations when it talks about Christ? And his description, I believe it is Salakia Khan. Let's go ahead and read that, because in this book, this is in our words, this is other people that have done their research. They can clearly see that these other religions, they don't even match up, and they were created from the Bible, but there's something that's completely off. So it mentioned Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. We address Islam, let's address Christianity.
This is Revelation chapter 1 and verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks.
So the 7 golden candlesticks, I don't know if it says, did it say golden right there? It just said 7, right?
Just 7.
So 7, it's talking about the menorah, which Christians know nothing about.
Right.
Salakia?
It says one like unto the Son of Man. So
That's talking about Christ.
right, but I'm saying as far as gold, I know we're not, but was that in reference to what you just asked?
Oh, lie. I was referring when this was fashioned to be like the Most High wanted. It was golden, but I was just because we have a silver version. That's why I just said golden. But originally it was golden. But go ahead.
And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
So if we hold up this right here, this is insane.
Right.
It says white like wool. We have, which is actually Caesar Borgia. Look at this hair. Look at this. This is not what the Bible is describing.
Right.
Continue.
As white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
This devil right here has different type of eyes than what the Bible is describing. So that's strike 2. Continue.
And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace.
When you burn brass, which is polishing it, brass is already a derivative of brown. It gets darker. So it's not my complexion. It's darker than that. It would be more close to your complexion, if not darker. This is a heathen right here.
Exactly.
This is not what Christ looked like. Any more on that?
As if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters.
He probably sounded like a pep squeak. This man right here, he probably had a high-pitched weirdo voice. This is Caesar Borgia. This is not Christ that's mentioned in the Bible. So Christianity is done. Islam is done. Let's go to Judaism. Let me go ahead and read what Arthur Koestler had to say, because Arthur Koestler is a Jewish man, and that community believes that they are the children of Israel. They believe that they descend from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But let's see what this Jewish historian and scholar has to say. So this is the 13th tribe by Arthur Koestler. Apparently him and his wife unalived themselves shortly after writing this book, kind of like Jeffrey Epstein unalived himself, quotation marks, but we're going to go ahead and get past that and read it. All right, so this is page 17. It says, this was written before the full extent of the Holocaust was known, but that does not alter the fact that the large majority of surviving Jews in this world is of Eastern European descent, and thus perhaps mainly of Khazar origin or Khazar origin. Khazars are like Russian steppe tribesmen. They're Europeans that lived in a completely different place than where the original Israelites lived. So he's kind of prefacing his statement with what he's going to go into. It says, if so, this would mean that their ancestors came not from the Jordan, so not from around where Jerusalem and the Israelites came from, but from the Volga, not from Canaan, but from the Caucasus, once believed to be the cradle of the Aryan race, so the Caucasian race, and that genetically they are more closely related to the Hun, the Ugar, and the Magyar tribes than to the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Should this turn out to be the case, then the term anti-Semite would become void of meaning based on the misapprehension shared by both the killers and their victims. That's crazy. Come on, man. You have Judaism, you have Islam and Christianity, which have given you falsehoods. And it said these strangers would get above us so high and we would come so low. What we needed to do, Black, Hispanic, and Native American man, is turn to the laws, the statutes, and commandments to get right what we have wrong ever since our forefathers have broken that covenant and that Christ died for. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass the class over to Priest and Officer Kaash.
This is the ISUPK security announcements. Rules for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to learn and set themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, they are to seek counsel from the heads. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21. Malachi 3, 8 through 10. Ma'asera, which means 10 in Hebrew. It's 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you to give. Priest fund is a free one offering for the priest, not mandatory. Whatever amount you would like to bring. Upcoming holy convocations is the Feast of Purim, starting in February. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, men of Israel, a Mizim, which means to stand. Men of Israel, a Mizim Shabbat, a Mizim, Barak,
Yahweh Hashem, Yahshua Barakathon.
Yahshua, hands down, Sar, turn and face the sisters. Sisters, a Mizim. Men of Israel, Mizim Shabbat, a Mizim, Barak, Shalom, Yahweh, Shamar, Atham,
Hashem, Yahshua.
Yahweh, Yahshua, class dismissed.